Hello, it's another edition of the Stew with JT Brew college betting show week 13. Usually we go Tuesday nights. It's been a disaster of a week. My computer just took a shit. It's out of control. Me and Benny going late night, Thursday night. Get ready. We don't know what's going to happen tonight. It could get wild. But you're in the stew. Let's go.
You up on trades and why you move, you ain't designed to lose. Find you jumping over seemingly nothing, racking up points, makes the game a little more fun to watch. Can drop release, we started with the mock draft and now we making a mockery of the leaderboard. Quite obviously not a scrub, so start an institute, make evaluations like a commissioner do. It's to the point your wife make you watch in a different room. Update your roster and pick and choose when you get some news. Not much that we enjoy more than sifting through new statistics to make it to our end zones through different routes. Universities, institutes, down to homies who click in groups. I introduce you to the Stew with JT Brew.
Thank you to everybody joining us tonight, Thursday night, college football week 13 betting show. Usually we go late night Tuesday. As I said, my computer took a crap on me. Couldn't get on, couldn't do anything. I just got it back. Battery issue, I don't know. Somehow they charged me like $200, but it's working again, so I'll take it. So me and Benny D, late night on Thursday. The Steelers just lost.
Ooh.
Cost me ungodly amounts of money, and what I knew was going to be a dog shit game. Every one of my Steelers friends, we talked about it. We're like, this is like total Steelers trap game. You beat the Ravens and you lose at the Browns. That's exactly what happens. Stupidly, I just tried to trust the process. I'm like, no, they're gonna be all right.
I live bet the Steelers when they were down. What was it? I think they were down. What were they? Pretty much at the peak of what they were down, but I took it on the money line. I thought they were going to come back and win. I really did. And it almost happened. It almost happened.
I have to tell you, man, the 2-point play, you're getting paid millions of dollars as a NFL coach, and your 2-point play is let's throw the third string running back out and throw a fade pass to him.
Yeah.
That's your 2-point conversion play to win the game?
That was not.
Come on, dude. I run better plays than flag football. 5th grade flag football, I know better 1-point, 2-point conversion plays than that. It's absolutely terrible. We got our boy Jimmy in here in the house. He said, what's up, guys? Dropping to say hi. Can't stay long. Got to wake up in 6 hours. Jamie, I'm going to give you your props. He says, go Browns. He's a Cleveland Browns fan.
Oh, man.
I hate the Browns, but
hey,
Jamie.
Either way, though, you get Steelers Browns in a snow game. That's always fun.
It's perfect. Congratulations, Jamie, on the win. That's a great win. But Benny, you're right. Is there not anything better?
Nothing better. It was awesome, man. You got Jameis Winston with like a weird looking face mask and like everything about it was awesome.
Jameis Winston against Russell Wilson in a freaking downpour of a snow game. Like, are we serious right now? I mean, I'm real pissed about the Steelers losing, but that was an awesome game. That was pretty badass all around. So I hate to see the loss, but man, nothing's better than a snow football game. Jamie jumped back in before he has to go to bed. I never expected the Browns to win. Probably ruined our chances to get the top QB in the draft. That would be the Browns' way. That would be the Browns' way. It's like they win this game, and now all of a sudden they get like the 5th pick instead of the 1st pick. That's kind of how these things happen. I got another comment in here. Jamie M says, here we go. What props are going down this week? Yes, Jamie, we're going to talk prop bets.
We did a little props.
I've got Benny. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks now. I've got a poll on Twitter. Do I take the Travis Hunter cash out Heisman bet?
Man.
Or do I let it ride? Do I let it ride, folks? Hey, if you follow me
he's the odds-on favorite right now.
At X, get on there right now. If anybody's watching the show, get on X, vote right now. I'm going to pull up at the end of the show, Benny. We're going to pull up the poll. I said, do I take the cash out at 2,200 or do I let it ride for 3,800? There's a poll right now on X. Follow me at JT Orange. Vote in the poll. We're going to talk about the poll at the end of the show. and I'm going to do it live on the show. I'm either going to take the cash out or I'm not going to. My girlfriend has been hammering me. She's like, how can you not take the money? How can you not take the money?
I'm telling you right now, the poll is going to say let it ride. I'm telling you right now. Everybody that votes is going to be like, don't take it. Don't you do it.
And we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens because I have to be honest with you. He's the favorite right now. Travis Hunter, minus 330 to win the Heisman. I got on him last December at plus 7,500 to win the Heisman.
Man.
It's a great bet. But here's the thing is, if they
good.
lose to Kansas this weekend, it totally changes everything. It totally changes everything.
And Kansas is kind of hot.
They're hot.
Kansas is hot.
We do, Benny, now that the perfect transition. Kansas is hot. What did we tell everyone last week? What did we tell everyone?
Get on that money line.
Get on that money line, Kansas. We told you, get on. You know what else we told you? We put out
Syracuse
our play of the day, all dogs parlay, and guess what hit? Our all dogs parlay hit. Boston College, Virginia, Syracuse, Kansas. Bam. It crushed. 4-pick parlay, all dogs. Hammered that bet. I hope you all got in on it. Me and Benny were in on it. We hit the money on that bad dog. I'm mad that I took it, and then I was like, you know what I should do is take Kansas and Syracuse money line in that bet. I didn't. I just took the points.
I didn't either. I took the points.
I took the points.
I chickened out.
And I was real pissed at myself later that I didn't just take them to win because I felt really good about Syracuse and Kansas winning. Yeah. And then Boston College and Virginia both covered on the points.
Yep.
It was a monster bet. So I love that one. Now let's get back. Jamie said, Jamie back in here says JT wins this one.
Ooh.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
Here's my thing for the Heisman. If somehow somehow Colorado falls apart here, then Hunter's out. But if they keep winning and they win and get into the top 12 and they make the playoffs, you got to take a guy that their team was 1-10 2 years ago, 4-8, and now they're in the playoffs. And he is a superior athlete. I love it. I still think he wins it, but I'm starting to get nervous about whether to take it. He says, James says, Kansas killed BYU. They did. Kansas has looked good. And I, a known Kansas hater, Ben, I went to Mizzou, our big rival. We hate Kansas. We loved when Illinois rocked them to start this year. It was phenomenal. We were on Illinois to cover that game.
Yeah.
But Kansas is starting to turn it up, dude. It's starting to turn up. Devin Neal is a real deal running back, dude. Devin Neal is real deal. Keep your eyes on it if you're a fantasy player because he's going to be legit in the NFL. Benny, that's what has me nervous on this bet. If Colorado loses to Kansas, which I hate to say it, I think it's a possibility.
It could happen, but I don't know, man.
I think it kills his Heisman value. If they lose this game, it kills his Heisman value. It just crushes it, right?
No doubt. I don't know. I mean, Kansas is hot, and they have turned their season around because they looked so bad early in the year, and they've got it going right now. But I look at it, and I'm like, man, Colorado they're not going to lose. They're not going to lose to Kansas, right?
They shouldn't, but it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
We talked about this, man. I'm a double down guy. I'm like when I get 11 on the blackjack table, I don't care that they have a face card up. I'm doubling down
every time.
I'm doubling down. I'm doubling down every time. Don't mess around. Just do it. So I'm almost never the cash out guy. I rarely have taken the cash out in my life. And I'm like looking at this and I'm like, I kind of feel like I should take the cash out. But I'm like, I also really want to have just the shit talk that said I took him in December the year before and he wins the Heisman at plus 7,500. I just want to have that on my back, just I'll scratch the back like I crushed that bet.
They could. Let's look at who else Colorado's got after Kansas. Because even if they lose.
Kansas, Oklahoma State. Kansas, Oklahoma State's the last two. And
they're going to beat Oklahoma State because Oklahoma State's terrible.
Yep. And they would be in the Big 12 championship game.
So they
and then
still have a
right
shot.
now, it's them versus BYU unless something else happens. And then whoever wins that gets in.
Well, BYU could lose this week too.
That's it. Jamie jumps and says BYU was the same situation when they played Utah. They couldn't pull out the win last weekend. Exactly. It's like you're right there. You're right there. You never know. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. We're gonna get into the bets, guys. We're gonna get into the bets, but we're gonna at the end of the show. I'm gonna re-look up my Twitter poll, see what they say. If everyone says I should take the cash out, I'm gonna take the cash out. I'm gonna go with the people. I'm gonna go with the people on this one.
I like that.
We'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be a people's bet. But Benny, let's pull up the old DraftKings here and see where we're at. Let's start talking about some college football bets as we're getting big time into this season here. So here we go. If you are into tomorrow night's bets, Friday, UTSA minus 16.5 against Temple. I don't know you about Benny, but UTSA has been looking great lately. They're a team I've liked the last 2 or 3 years. Temple is terrible. I love that at minus 16.5. I think they win by 17.
Yeah, no, you're not taking Temple. I know that for sure.
Absolutely not.
UTSA has been on a bit of a heater here, so yeah, I'm with you there. I'm going to give you an early JT Parlay play of the day. I don't usually do this early in the show, but I'm going to give you my Friday night JT Parlay play of the day. I'm taking UTSA minus 16.5. I'm taking Michigan State minus 13.5 against Purdue. And I'm taking UNLV. I'm buying a half a point and taking them minus 7 against San Jose State. 3-team parlay pick. Friday night action. What do you think about that, Benny? I like it. San Jose State is a little dangerous.
They're sneaky.
I will say that.
They're sneaky good, but I like UNLV.
They didn't cover last week, and they should have, and it was like on Scott Van Pelt's bad beats because I think everybody was on San Jose last week, and it was a wild ending, and they didn't cover. But they're a sneaky team. They should have probably covered against Boise last week. But I like
they were in the mix. They should have covered, and they're tough. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think UNLV wins, but I'm buying the half a point. I want to get down to 7 in case
UNLV. They need to win if they, because they can get into their.
They can get in. They can still get in the Mountain West Championship game against Boise if they win this one.
Yep.
So I think UNLV is coming to play. I like UNLV. I want to buy it down to 7 instead of 7.5 because I think it's going to be a close game. If you want to take the points, get down to 6. I have no problem. I get it down to 6.
Yeah.
And then take Michigan State and UTSA. I would. That's what I would do. I know the payout's not the same, but I would absolutely take UTSA minus 16.5. I think they can win by 17. I think Michigan State's 14 points better than Purdue. Purdue is real bad, folks. They're terrible. Yeah. I think Michigan State gets to 14, beats them, but I think you buy it down to 6 for UNLV. That's a possible push at 6. Or if you're on the other side and you really like San Jose State, I'd buy it up. I'd buy it up and take the points on San Jose State.
Yep. No, it's going to be a good Friday night. I think that UNLV San Jose State game that'll be a good game. So
I think it should be a nice one. Dude, we've gotten some really nice late night games this year.
What else we got going here? That's it for Friday, right?
Yep. So that's our Friday slate is so let's get on to Saturday and let's just jump off, Benny, with the big dog. The game that everybody's talking about is in everybody's ears. Ohio State, Indiana. Mad smack talk about the Hoosiers. Man. People saying, like, even if they lose this game, should they get in with one loss? As an Illinois fan, and we both can't stand Indiana, we're just going to tell you that, people, out front, we're not going to lie. We're from Champaign, Illinois. We hate the Hoosiers. We hate the Hoosiers. But as an Illinois fan who's always an underdog in football,
It's a little different with football, right?
Indiana run, right? I kind of love to see Indiana run, and people saying like now they haven't played a hard schedule, but still, if you only have one loss here, one loss is Ohio State, who's number 2 in the country, don't you have to be in the playoff?
Yeah, unless they get blown out. I think they're probably still going to be with one loss. They're still going to be in the mix. Ohio State. Here's what's weird. This line is bounced around. Like, I think on Monday it was 10. It went all the way. It got all the way to like 13 and a half at some point, almost hit 14. And now it's back down to 10. So
yeah, it's back down to 10 and a half. This thing has been getting wild.
I don't know what's going on, but man, I'm so back and forth because part of me feels like Indiana can hang around. You know what I mean? Like,
I do too.
And then
so
part
here's
of
the
me
thing
too is like, well, Ohio State might just shellac them too. Like it. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Well, Jamie jumped in here and says Ohio State has no offense. They're trash. Here's the thing is, I actually think Indiana's offense is better than Ohio State's.
It is. It totally is.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. I think Indiana, if you take Indiana's quarterback, Benny, you take Indiana's quarterback, you put him on Ohio State. Is that a national champion?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a national champion, dude. I think Curtis Rourke is so much better than Will Howard.
Much better, yeah. Yeah, Ohio State could have done so much better in the portal, getting quarterback than they did. I mean,
I'm gonna go to the grave saying that they should have kept Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
They ran him out of town. He has looked phenomenal at Syracuse. He's carried that Syracuse team.
Yeah,
he has looked amazing.
On Ohio State he would be lights out, man. I mean,
yeah, he would because he would be his second year as a starter, a little more time under his belt. They just ran him out of town in 2 seconds. I'm like, dude, what are you guys doing? This guy's like, it wasn't like he was some garbage 2-star like recruit.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy was like 4 or 5-star recruit. Like, come on, man. And like he had good numbers. He wasn't bad. It was like, oh, he lost to Michigan, who ended up winning the national title. That was that was the one thing that killed him. Oh, you lost to Michigan, who won the national championship. How dare you, you asshole. Like, seriously?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. And McCord, I mean, he's a great player. He's he's having an unbelievable season. If you look at stats for Syracuse, I mean, he's lighting it up. He does like to throw the occasional interception, but Syracuse also throws the ball like 90% of the time.
Oh, they've been throwing a ton.
And they don't block very well. So it's like, yeah, he's going to throw some picks.
The O-line isn't great. The O-line isn't great.
But I'm saying you put him on Ohio State, a team that's got real players that can block and they can run the ball. And now all of a sudden it's like, I mean, he'd probably be just absolutely killing it. I mean,
well, I just don't understand how people thought that Will Howard was way better than McCord. Jamie says McCord has a better season. Yeah, well, he's had a better season. I agree with you.
For sure.
And Jamie says, don't you, how many of these Ohio State wide receivers are top draft picks that they'll draft running backs high in the range? Dude, Ohio State is loaded.
Yep.
Jamie, right now, I'm going to tell you why Ohio State's loaded. I think Ohio State should win the national title. I absolutely 100% think they should win the national title. My biggest problem is Will Howard.
Yeah.
If they lose, I think Will Howard is the reason they lose. I think their defense is amazing. Their running backs are amazing. They have great wide receivers. That's the thing to me is like, I want to put all my chips in on Ohio State to win the national title because I think they're the best team.
Overall, they probably are.
I'm like, I don't know if I trust their quarterback. I don't know if I trust Will Howard at all.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's going to be interesting, man. We got, I don't know. I've gone so back and forth on that one. I really, as much as we hate Indiana as Illinois fans, it's a little different in football, like you said. You just don't think of them as the same type of rival. It's Indiana. So you're kind of just like, screw Ohio State a little bit, Yeah. Kind of hope they pull off the miracle. I mean, if they go into Ohio State and win that game, that'd be crazy, man. That'd be crazy.
Well, it'd be like Illinois when, what was it, Juice Williams and crew went in when Ohio State was number 1 and they upset them and made the Rose Bowl. It was freaking wild. I mean, it would be the greatest win in Indiana history if they go in and beat Ohio State. I mean, it would be absolutely wild. Benny, it's at 10.5 right now on DraftKings. I don't know where. Do you have a leaning on this game? Do you feel good one way or the other? Jamie M says Henderson and Judkins falls in the draft. I actually like Henderson and Judkins. If you're a DLF member, look it up. I just put up my first 2 rounds of rookie mock draft for 2025. It just came out this week. I like Henderson and Judkins. I have Judkins as my running back 3, Henderson as my running back 5 currently, just to give you a little bit of a tip there. But Benny, what do you think about this? Are you like, do you think it's like you want to take Indiana to cover, but like, can you do it?
Well, it's one of those where Indiana's been so good to us all year. So it's like, God, I just want to keep rolling with them. And I think, and it was like 13, which was just yesterday. So I don't know what happened, but apparently somebody or a lot of people put a bunch of money on Indiana in the last day or so. But I don't know. I do think Indiana can keep it close. I really do. But it's one of those where if you bet Indiana and they get absolutely blown out by like 3 scores, then you feel like a total idiot.
You're like, I'm a dumbass.
Everybody that said they didn't play anybody all year was
right?
right. Yeah, they were right. I was wrong. But it's like, man, I don't know. I'm probably not going to do – I can't say that. I'll do something just because I want to. But it's like I'm going to root for Indiana. So I'll probably I'll probably take the points with Indiana and just, hold my nose and see what happens.
I would have loved to get Indiana at like 13.5 or 14.
Yeah.
I would have been like
14. That's what I was waiting for.
14, I would have been all in.
It's going to get to Saturday and it's going to be 4. And it still could. That's what's crazy. It's only Thursday. Like the people that
you have to
get in there in the last minute.
The betting public is going to bet Ohio State.
Yes.
Like no one bets on Indiana football. I know a ton of people that went to Indiana. I don't know if any of them know one football player that ever played there. They don't care about football. They don't pay attention. They only care about basketball. I don't know anyone that went to Indiana that ever pays attention to the football team.
Yeah.
So no one's going to bet Indiana and push the line the other way. It's just not going to happen.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like it could 100% make it to 14 by Saturday, morning. So I'm probably just going to wait because that's probably going to happen. But if it even gets back to 13, I'll probably get on Indiana and see what happens.
Yeah, so. I agree with you. I'm waiting around on that. If Indiana gets high enough, just for the F of it, like jump it up, just to root for them. How about Ole Miss 11.5 over under 55 against Florida? Ole Miss on some big wins. I've been all over Jackson Dart. Trey Harris is supposed to be back in this game, which would be huge. Trey Harris has been an absolute beast this year. He's missed the last couple of games with an injury, but he has been amazing. I think Ole Miss rolls them. I just got in. I'll tell everybody, I just got in. If you haven't got in yet, this is a random bet, but I just looked it up yesterday. I got it plus 5,000 for Ole Miss to win the SEC championship game.
Wow!
So plus 5,000 if they can get into the SEC championship game, which right now, if you look through the tiebreakers, it's wild. Benny, we can spend a 2-hour show just talking about the tiebreakers.
Scenarios.
Like we're not going to get into them because it's wild in the SEC. But if they make the championship game and win, I got them at plus 5,000 to win the SEC championship game right now. If you want to sprinkle a little on that, I would suggest it because I think Ole Miss, I really think they can beat anybody in the SEC right now.
I think almost anybody can beat anybody in that league. It's crazy. But I like Ole Miss because their defense is better than I thought. And that's
way better. They have 2 guys.
Like.
They have 2 defensive players that are probably going to go first round in the NFL draft.
They
People don't realize that. They don't realize that, but they have like at least 2 guys are going to be top 20, 25 picks.
Yep. And Florida, I mean, they had a couple games there where they looked really good and then they looked bad. And I know they're at home and this is kind of a dangerous game, but I mean, the whole season's on the line for Ole Miss, and I think their defense is going to show up and I think they're going to win. So, and I'm with you. I think 10.
It's 11.5 right now. I love it more at 10. I would like it a lot more at 10, but I think Ole Miss puts it to them. They got to. I'm like this. You just fought the whole season to get to this point. Like this is your game. You gotta like dominate. If you're Ole Miss, you got to put them away.
I can see Ole Miss causing some turnovers and just really getting out front early, and Florida just being like, well, we're done. Like our season's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Florida's been banged up, a lot of injuries. I mean, you get by this game, you're at home against Mississippi State last week, Ole Miss. Yep. Rivalry game, but you're at home against Mississippi State.
You're going to win that one.
You're going to win that one. So, they just won 28-10 against Georgia. Georgia is so much better than Florida. I think Arkansas is better than Florida, and they just won 63-31 against Arkansas. I think this team rules. I'm all over Ole Miss this week. I'm all over them. Even at 11.5, I think they absolutely roll.
I'm with you. No, I like it. I like Ole Miss.
We told everybody SMU last week. We're like, I'd take the points to cover. And
give me Boston College. Yep.
They covered.
They did it. They did it.
Did not cover.
Yeah.
So SMU.
If you watched that game, Boston College had a shot to win that thing, man.
They did.
I mean, they really did. And I mean, SMU pulled it out, so they're still in the hunt. But Virginia's kind of sneaky too, you know. I don't know. This one's a little tighter. It's only 9.5.
This one's tough. I'm probably avoiding this game. I loved Virginia last week with how much they were like a 22-point dog. We were on that. I love it. At home, I like them, but that one's iffy for me. I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if I can get behind the points on that one this week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, SMU dodged a bullet last week, but I still don't think they're quite as good as their record. And Virginia isn't awful, you know. They kind of covered at the last minute. There was a backdoor cover last week, Virginia, and it was 22 points. But I don't know. I'll probably stay away from this one because I could see, you know, I could see it going either way in that one.
Yeah, another one up here is Miami -24 at home against Wake Forest. Wake Forest is not good, but damn, Miami cannot cover. They cannot cover. I love Cam Ward. He's my QB2 in this draft class. I love Restrepo. I love Damian Martinez, our running back. I mean, I love this Miami group. This should be a blowout, but I'm a little bit worried just the fact that they've played too many teams close. And Wake Forest is not a good team, but they've actually been in almost every game this year. They have not been blown out by anyone. Mississippi was their biggest loss, was 40-6. Everyone else, they've either been in a game, won or lost by like a score, other than they lost to Clemson 49-14. So I think Miami should blow them out, but this game makes me nervous with the way they played lately.
They kind of need to. You know what I mean? Like, I think I know they're 9-1, but I think it's kind of like Indiana where they're like, oh, look at who they played. You know what I mean? So they're kind of in a spot where they need to blow them out.
Benny, to me, if you're going to put money on this game, it's Cam Ward, 300+ passing yards, Cam Ward, 2 to 3+ passing touchdowns, and then jump on Xavier Restrepo, receptions and receiving yards.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
To me, I feel like
it's going to be a shootout.
Miami could end up winning by like 10 points, but end up putting up 1,000,000 points. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would rather jump in on all the props. If you're looking at this game, because I think Miami is way better than Wake Forest. I mean, like, 1,000 times better. But 24 points is a lot. I'm jumping on player props in this game. I think that's the way to go with Miami. I think the player props could be monstrous.
Yeah, I don't trust them to cover, but they definitely will put up points and yards and everything. And Wake Forest's defense is horrible, but
that's why I want all the over yards. I want all the over receiving yards. I want the over passing yards. Like, I'm all over Miami props in this game.
Yep.
I mean, I don't even know what they are right now, but I don't even care.
Yeah, we'll see. It won't matter.
It doesn't even matter to me. I'm taking right now. I'm telling you, I'm not even looking at the odds. I'm taking Cam Ward 300 passing yards. I'm taking Cam Ward three touchdown passes. I'm taking Xavier Restrepo over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. I'm taking that's what I'm taking. That's my player prop.
I like it.
Absolutely in that game. I think that's killer. I'm all over that. We got to talk about my boys, Syracuse. 10.5 UConn, which is wild. We were all over 10-point dog Syracuse last week. I told you I couldn't believe it was 10. I'm like, that's wild.
Yeah. And
we took the points, but I also said I would consider taking the money line. They won. Of course they won.
Not only did they win, at one point they were up like 3 scores. The final score was even dominated. Yeah. So
they ended up winning 33-25. It ended up being closer than it was originally. Yeah. At one point, Syracuse was up 27-7 in that game.
I mean, it was a beatdown. As a 10-point.
They were way up. And I've been telling people all year, if you're going to jump on player props, Kyle McCord 300+ yards passing is almost given. It's almost given. He's throwing the ball 40 to 45 times a game.
Yeah.
Every game. And then LaQuinn Allen, if you're a fantasy football player, keep an eye on his name. He is sneaky, dude. He is sneaky good. He's not getting the national recognition, but LaQuinn Allen's good. 23 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Last week, 3 catches, 25 yards. Aronde Gadsden, 8 catches, 109 yards, tight end. He's a stud. Again, Syracuse, if you don't want to jump on the points, the player props are money. You got take McCord over 300 yards passing. Take LaQuinn Allen, usually over 70 or 80 yards rushing. Gadsden or Pena, and then Meeks. People keep forgetting about Jackson Meeks, transfer from Georgia, absolute stud. He's had a couple down games, but he's had a bunch of monstrous games. So you can usually get him really nice odds at like plus 30 or plus 40 yards receiving. And he's hit that like nonstop. So if you're looking at player props, if you're on like underdog and you're looking for like, let's take over under players, look at McCord over passing yards, LaQuinn Allen over rushing yards, Meeks over receiving yards. That would be my play. This, Benny, this is a toughie. 10.5 against UConn. UConn's been absolutely horrible in the past, but they're actually 7-3 this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it down to 10, and I'm going to take the Syracuse because I just feel like Syracuse is going to work UConn at home.
I think Syracuse is going to win this game. I'm a little hesitant to take the points because I think UConn is like they're kind of
sneaky, right?
They got a pretty good defense, but they really haven't played anybody either. Jim Moore Jr. coach there now. So I mean, and it's kind of like one of these, right? It's kind of a rivalry. It's UConn and Syracuse, so it's like, I don't know. I could see
it's like a huge basketball rivalry.
Yeah,
football, they've like had almost
probably
nothing.
not.
Basketball,
but these guys,
like gigantic.
Probably a lot of these players on these teams probably know each other, though. You know what I mean? Like they're from the same area. Like it's that kind of game. So I definitely could see UConn like being in the mix at the end to have a chance, but I don't think they can win. I think Syracuse is going to win this one for sure.
Yeah, I think Syracuse. I'm on them on that one. Let's jump through a couple more games here. We'll pass up. Dude, there's so many SEC games this week, Benny, that they're playing just dog shit like low-end D1 teams. I don't think we need to talk about those games. If you want to bet on them, bet on them. But, like, there's so many bad games. Georgia versus UMass. Tennessee versus UTEP. I mean, those games are just freaking awful.
Name your score. It's almost like they're going to do whatever they want against those teams.
Yeah, you think they're just going to roll them. Liberty, Western Kentucky, -1 over our 56.5. That's a interesting game. Liberty, I was big on Liberty preseason, and they have absolutely let me down so bad. We had them at plus, 450 to make the playoffs in a parlay. We thought they might go undefeated in their conference, had the easiest schedule in the country, and they have absolutely fallen apart.
Yeah, last year they must have lost some real key players from last year's team because, man, they're just not the same team. Even the same team. No, even the games that, and they just haven't covered at all either. Like early in the season.
Oh, they've not covered. If you wanted to bet against them, that would have been your biggest money maker, was betting against them all year. But they haven't covered against anybody.
Yeah, this one's it's basically a pick 'em. I could see Western Kentucky. That's a coin toss game. I can see Western Kentucky winning.
I didn't, and I just brought it up to see if you liked one other. I've liked Western Kentucky in a bunch of games too, but this one,
I would probably lean Western Kentucky. Why not?
I think so too. Jamie jumping in here says Cam Ward props for Miami, 2.5 TDs, 1.39 times, 340.5 yards, 1.77 times. That's on Underdog. I like them both. I think he's going to light it up. Yeah. I think he's absolutely going to – he's lit it up most of the year. I like those. Thanks, Jamie, for pulling those out on Underdog. 2.5 TDs, 1.39 times, 340.5 yards passing, 1.77 times. Thanks for throwing those out to us. Those are great stats. I like him on that a lot.
Yeah, I do too. And it's the kind of game where I know Wake Forest isn't very good, but I feel like they can hang around, and that helps the chances of it being an absolute stat kind of game, because if Wake Forest hangs around, they're not going to shut it down. They're just going to keep chucking it, So,
yeah, like you said, like betting -24, I would rather take player props than the -24.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's going to be a speed throwing the ball all over the place. I'm all over player props in that game. I think that's a great call. Let's jump through a couple more games. What else do we like this week? Kansas, Colorado, monster game. We talked about it a little bit beforehand. Colorado currently -2.5, over under 59.5 at Kansas. Kansas got off to a terrible start. They've started rolling. Looked real good recently. We told you take them last week against BYU, and we were right. I have Travis Hunter. We talked about at the beginning of the show. Travis Hunter to win the Heisman. I'm nervous if Colorado loses this game this week that his Heisman stuff just drops.
Yeah.
It drops off a cliff. If Colorado wins this week and makes the championship game, I think it goes up. But I'm leaning towards taking the cash out. I already said we're going to talk about it at the end of the show. If you're on Twitter, following me at JT Orange, I have the poll up. Bet on whether I should take, vote on whether I should take Travis Hunter, $2,200 cash out, or do I hold for the $3,800 cash out if he wins Heisman? Benny, what do you think on this game? I've been on Colorado all year. People have been hating on me left and right. They said, "Oh, you just suck it off the Sanders. You just like Dion. You like Shadur." I'm like, yeah, they're awesome. Like, you should be betting on Colorado. I like Colorado, and now they're putting it in people's faces. Shedeur Sanders is my QB1. I've told everybody this for 2 years. I got yelled at that I didn't know football. I watched the tape. Do you knew ball? I got all the comments about how I didn't know anything. And now everyone is on him as QB1, which I think is hilarious. Now, like all the big pundits are like, oh, he's QB1. I'm like, really? Really? After everyone talked shit to me for 2 years after I told you it was QB1. I just think that's funny. But what do you think of this game? Man, I kind of want to take Colorado 2.5 because I think they can win this game, but I'm real nervous. Kansas is playing awesome.
I'm a little nervous too. I think Kansas is on a bit of a roll, and they'd probably like nothing more than to end their season beating Colorado at home. And it's going to be an electric, atmosphere, I'm sure. But that said, Colorado just has better players, man. They just do. And I don't know. I think Colorado's going to win this thing. I for some reason I feel like Colorado's going to make their way into this playoff. I don't know why, but I feel
like destiny.
Yes.
Doesn't it feel like destiny that after all the shit everybody talked when they went 4-8 last year, and everyone was like, "Oh, I don't know what everybody's talking about them. They only won 4 games. They're just terrible." And you're like, they were the worst team in the country the year before, and they were every game. It feels like they're making the playoffs. I really do.
I don't know
feel
why.
like
yeah. So I would say I would take Colorado and just probably take them on the money line because I
kind of think so too, dude. I'm going to do it. I'm probably going to take the cash out. We'll see what everybody says. Like I said, depending on what the poll is, I'll do the cash out. But I will say in the preseason show, I told everyone take Shedeur Sanders over passing yards and over passing touchdowns. Guess what?
Oh, it's over.
Both have already hit. They've already hit. 2 games left. They've already hit. He's over 3,000 yards passing. He's over 25. He has 27 touchdowns. It was 25.5. I told everybody to do it. So hopefully you tailed me on that because those are money winners. And Benny, I can't remember if we brought it up last week. I think we did. But please tell me everyone jumped on Ted McMillan over 1,000 receiving yards. He's crushed that. We've already cashed that bet for the year. My saying is, should have put $1 million on it.
Yeah,
I feel like we should have put $1 million on Ted McMillan over 1,000 receiving yards. Like, I mean, what were we thinking? I mean, we should have called up the bank. We should have got a house loan. We should have done everything we could have and put everything on Ted McMillan over 1,000 receiving yards because that absolutely crushed.
Yeah, that one seems like such a no-brainer. And with player prop season and totals, it's always a little because there's always that chance somebody gets hurt.
Injury. The injury is what you got to worry about.
That's the only thing. But if someone would tell me, oh, I could add a crystal ball and I can tell you right now, this guy's going to play the whole season. It's like, that's a freaking no-brainer. I mean, that one
was a money bet. It's a money bet.
Yeah. So those were some.
Jamie jumps in here. He says you can book Hunter anytime TD, Shepard TD as well.
Ooh.
I have to agree with him. Hunter TD. Will Shepard has come on like a bat out of hell the last 3 weeks. So Jimmy Horn went down with injury. Will Shepard, the transfer from Vanderbilt, has been all up in the mix the last couple of weeks. He has looked phenomenal. I like both those calls. I'm telling you right now, check out my JT Orange on X. I will put a same game parlay together for the Buffaloes, Colorado Buffaloes, Kansas game, and I will have a Hunter and Shepard anytime TD in there. So I like that call. Jamie, thanks for that. He says there's some good props on BYU and Sun Devils game. I like that as well. Benny, me and you have liked the Sun Devils a lot this year. I feel like this might be another upset special.
This is one of my favorite games of the week, actually. I'm leaning with the Sun Devils here.
It's -3 right now. Arizona State is -3. Over-under is 48.5 at home. 3:30 Eastern game, 2:30 Central. Arizona State against BYU. I kind of like the Devils as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like that Scatabo. I like the running back. They're tough. I actually like the under in this game. I could see this being like a grinder. I mean, you don't think of these two teams as grinder teams, but they kind of are. I mean, they both like to run the ball, and they both have tough defenses. I could see this going under. I would lean that, and I'm probably leaning ASU as well.
Yeah, points scored. BYU averaging 31, Arizona State 30, but defensively, BYU 19, Arizona State 22.
Yeah,
they've got two
couple of tough defenses. Yeah, and it's a big game, so a lot of times in these big games,
they're going to hold it close to the vest, right, Benny?
Right.
Like the coaches are going to be like, "Hey,
both
man,
teams are going to run the ball,
play
a little possession. It might get a little wild at the end, So I don't know. Maybe first half would be a better bet, but I don't know. That one just feels like it's going to be a tight one. That'll be a good game.
Benny, a couple other games we got here in the 2:30 Central Time afternoon games. Penn State -11 against Minnesota, over under 45, and Texas -20 against Kentucky, over under 46.5. You got any feeling on either one of those games? All four of those teams have been super tough to predict this year.
I was just going to say, both of those games, I probably am going to avoid completely because I could totally see, Penn State screwing around and barely beating Minnesota for some reason, even though they should absolutely dominate.
I agree with you.
But, that'd be a classic Penn State thing to do.
This feels like a 3 to 7 point Penn State win, right? They look like shit. Minnesota plays them till the end. And then Penn State's like, oh, we got by. We're good.
Honestly, I'm not even sure Texas is as good as people think either. That's the other thing. So it's like, I could see Texas screwing around and not covering that game. So
if Kentucky was healthy, I would absolutely be all over Kentucky at 20.5.
Oh, they
played everybody tough. They've been beat up, and that's the problem with them.
Yeah.
But I agree. I could see Texas winning by 30, but I'm like, I still don't want any part of that game. I think I'm staying away from it.
No, yeah, I'm either dog or nothing in both of those games, probably.
Yeah, I'm on that. Let's find some of the next couple of games up here on the list for everybody. A lot of terrible games this week. A lot of terrible games.
Army Notre Dame.
I'm going to throw this one in for my West Coast people. San Diego State +5.5 against Utah State. I know this is not a big game. I'm all over the Aztecs +5.5. They've been in so many close games this year. So many close games. I think they cover the 5.5. Utah State's not that good. San Diego State has a pretty tough defense, young group. But if you're just looking for a side game that's not a big dog game, I like San Diego State +5.5 in that one. Let's try and find some more afternoon games here. The big one. People are talking about Army Notre Dame, 9-0 Army, number 19 against number 6 Notre Dame at 9-1. 14.5 right now, over 45.5. Can Army stick with the Irish?
Man, I think they can. Notre Dame's looked really good. Man, that's a tough call because you know how it is with Army and all the other. They're just not playing the same competition. And really, I guess though Notre Dame's not really playing the greatest of teams either. So I don't know. 14.5. That's a tough one. I mean,
this is my biggest thought of the week. I'm like, I want to feel like Army could keep it close.
Yeah.
But then we kind of felt like Navy would keep it close, and Notre Dame absolutely blew the doors off of them.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's like Notre Dame at home. I mean, this would be an epic Army win.
Yeah.
But Notre Dame's playing for the playoffs. They win this game. Like, they got USC left, and then they're like in. So it's like, oh man, I was like, this one's rough for me. I'm probably avoiding it because I really want to bet Army, but I don't know if deep down I believe they can stay close.
I don't really either. I mean, you just look at some of these teams, but again, at the same time, I mean, it's like, who's Notre Dame? FSU? I mean, yeah, they beat the crap out of them. Everybody's beat the crap out of them.
Everybody.
I mean, Navy's maybe one of the better teams they've played.
Well, that's the issue. It's like they've had a really terrible schedule when you really want to look at it. Like bad. They beat Texas A&M in the first game of the year, which was an impressive win. But since then, they beat a terrible Purdue team, a terrible Ohio team. Louisville, they snuck by, and Louisville's been decent, but not great. A terrible Stanford team. They beat an okay Georgia Tech team, what was supposed to be a very good Navy team, a terrible Florida team, a not very good Virginia team. I mean, like, this has been a pretty, like, honestly, if Notre Dame was in the conference, people would be talking shit about, like, how terrible their schedule was.
Yeah. Yeah, they should be catching the same kind of flack that Indiana
is, right? Like they almost have the same schedule as Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah, really, honestly, you could say Indiana's played a tougher schedule, for sure. So they'll beat Army probably. I would like to think Army hang around, make it a game, and they could. But I don't know. I'll probably stay away from this. It's a tough one to bet.
Yeah, I agree. Jamie Joe says Army loses this one in my eyes. They have Tulane after. Tulane's a
wagon right now.
Green wave. We love the green wave. And I'm actually mad that we haven't been more on the green wave. Jamie voted on your poll. Thank you, Jamie. My girlfriend is standing in the background yelling at me, telling everyone to say, take the cash out. She's like, she cannot believe I haven't cashed out yet. She's like, I'm going to look up everyone and fight them if they don't vote cash out. So she's like, you better do it immediately.
I mean, if she knows anything about the people that might actually be listening to us, she knows she's probably not winning that battle.
That's what she said. She's like, these degenerates are going to like absolutely tell you to keep betting and keep going. All right, we're coming up on an hour here. Let's get into the last couple games. Right now, Boise State, Wyoming on DraftKings is 22.5, 56.5. Wyoming's been awful this year, Ben. And if you're Boise State, you're like, we need to get Ashton Genty back in the Heisman talk. Yeah. You're pounding the rock with him all day long.
Yeah.
If you have to push this to 21, you can. I think Boise State, who's not covered the last 3 weeks, I think they cover this week.
Yeah, I think they roll, man. I really do. And I'm not sure they're going to be like, because Boise's offense, they can do. I mean, Genty sets everything up because even if they're not going to run, you got wide receivers just running wide open because you got to have the box loaded to even dream of stopping him. So I just think Boise's going to come into this game after last week and go, regardless of what we do, we need to blow this team out. I'm on Boise State, man. I think they're going to win this game by maybe 35. Like it's going to be.
I think they're going to roll. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a shellacking. I think they're actually going to roll them. The Ashton Genty props this year, they've been all over. So depending on what you're looking at, they've been between 188 and 200 every week. You can't take one touchdown. It's like minus 6,000 is stupid.
Yeah, you got
to take plus. 2 or 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So if you, I'm Benny, I'm in on this. If you can same game parlay this, I'm taking Boise State. I'm taking the points, the 22.5, 23, whatever it ends up being. I'm taking that. I'm taking Ashton Genty plus 200 yards. I'm taking Ashton Genty plus 3 touchdowns.
Shit.
I'm taking it, man. I think Boise State, dude, you don't know what it can do for a school to win a Heisman. Like it's ungodly amounts of money that it will give that school. Like they want him to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
Wyoming's terrible. Wyoming's terrible. This is the time to
good.
absolutely bust out a monster freaking game.
Yeah. And on top of it, I mean, they kind of write their own ticket to the playoff. So, you know, they win this game by a big margin. They get in their conference championship game. They probably play UNLV again, but
they hold their own destiny.
They're gonna probably win that. I mean, so yeah, this is big for Boise State as a school. I mean, they get potentially a Heisman Trophy and have a playoff berth. I mean, everything's right there for them, you know.
So, Benny, we got 2 SEC games that I think I'm actually surprised at these spreads. I think these are give me games.
Yeah.
Alabama minus 13.5 against Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like Oklahoma's dog shit. I don't know if anyone's watched them this year. They're not good. There's no way Alabama doesn't roll them by 2 touchdowns. And Texas A&M 8-2 against 4-6 Auburn. I have not liked Texas A&M, but they have a ton of talent on defense. Minus 2.5.
I lost you, Taylor.
Oh, Benny, you still there?
Oh,
sorry,
we had
a quick little hiccup there. Hey,
a little freeze.
I'm all over Alabama minus 13.5 against Oklahoma and Texas A&M minus 2.5 against Auburn. I think those are smash bets.
I like them both. The lines are a little fishy. It's almost like that too good to be true kind of line, but
it feels like. But then sometimes you're like, you got to take it, right?
Yeah. And Bama, I mean, man, if they run the ball like they have the last couple of weeks, that Oklahoma's not going to stand a chance in that thing. And then A&M, I'm with you, man. Auburn, I guess maybe I don't know. 2.5 is like it doesn't make sense. It's real fishy. So it's like, I don't know, but I'm with you. I don't see how
it's so ridiculous that makes you think about it. You're like,
it does. It's
why is that only 2.5?
Yeah.
Like Auburn's been dog shit.
Yeah.
Like they lost at home to California. Like, huh?
I don't know.
That one surprised me, man. That makes me
both those teams have to. I mean, they have to win.
They have to win to keep themselves in the playoffs.
So it's not like they're going to look past anybody. I mean, they're all in on these games. So I don't get it.
And they need to look good too because they need the voting. They need the voting still matters. People understand that. Looking good and rolling people matters because that moves you up in the standings. Right now, Alabama at 7 is right there. Texas A&M is at 15. They're out. Right now, they're out. They have to win and look good getting in. I'm telling you what, Benny, those are probably going to – we're going to talk about the end here, but those are going to be my JT Parlay play of the day. Alabama and Texas A&M are absolutely getting in on that thing.
Yeah, I like them both. I know they're road favorites, but, man, I mean, those seem like mismatches to me.
Yeah, let's move down the list here. LSU, 7.5 against Vanderbilt. I'm out on LSU. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I hate Kelly.
Yeah.
He just lost the #1 recruit in the nation today.
Oh, boy.
#1 recruit in the nation, quarterback, decided he decommitted from LSU. You know why? Because Kelly's a fucking dick. That guy sucks. Dude, if you watch games, how can you not watch that guy and be like, do I want to play for that guy?
I know, it's crazy. And, you know,
he's such an asshole. It's unbelievable. I saw it this morning. I'm like, they're like, oh, #1 recruit in the nation decommits from LSU. I'm like, oh, shocker. Because he just screamed as QB. And I think Garrett Nussmeier is really good. I think Garrett Nussmeier is the QB1 in 2026. I think he comes back to school as the QB1 next year.
Yeah.
And Kelly's such an asshole, dude.
And what's crazy, I don't think they can get rid of him because his contract is insane.
His contract's huge. There's no way.
So,
They paid him ungodly amounts of money to Lou from Notre Dame. And everybody that was a Notre Dame fan was like, thank God they got rid of him. That guy's an asshole.
They were pumped. They were like, oh, good. Yeah. No,
I'm like, the guy can coach. I'm not going to say he can't coach. The guy can coach.
Obviously,
but like, man, I don't want a guy that's big of a prick running my program.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I've just never been a fan, but I don't know. Vanderbilt, I mean, they've been sneaky. They've had a couple big wins. I mean, Vanderbilt's done some stuff they haven't never done in the past. So, yeah, I don't know. I know LSU's backs against the wall. I mean, their season's it's kind of
they're done. They're 6-4. They're over. It's falling
apart.
But
it would be classic LSU to like come out and roll somebody now that it doesn't matter, But I don't know. I'm staying away from this game. I can't.
I agree. I'm staying away.
LSU has burnt me too many times.
Exactly. Let's talk about our last game before we get into our picks of the week. We have to talk about it every week because they're the thorn in my side. UCLA +5, over under 52 at home against USC. Fuck the Bruins. Oh my God. This team is terrible. They've cost me every week by covering. I told them last week I'm not going to take them. You live bet them. You're like, no, I'm going to live bet them.
I was like, I'm going to do it.
And then, of course, they lost because that's who they are, the fucking Bruins. They suck.
Yeah.
Of course, they lose to Washington when you live bet them. I was like, dude, I don't want any part of it.
Man.
Here's the question, Benny. Are we getting on USC this week to cover the 5.5 against the Bruins in the rivalry game?
I don't know why this game is even anything other than a pick 'em. You know what I mean? Like, to me, this is a 100%.
They're both shitty, right?
They're
5-5 against 4-6.
Yeah, and to me, it's a coin toss. So if you're going to do anything, you might as well just take the point. Take UCLA in the points. I hate to say it, but it's like, I mean, this game is the biggest coin toss of a game you could ever have. They're the same kind of team. They're both like 1 week they might look like they're actually good, and then the next week they will just be a pile of crap. You know what
Benny,
I mean?
I'm going to tell you the most ridiculous stat of all time. UCLA is scoring 18.8 points a game this year. 18.8 points a game this year, and they're 4-6.
Yeah, they should.
That's wild. That's wild. You're scoring 18 points a game, and you're 4-6. Like, I mean, my God, it's insanity.
I don't feel like the defense is great. I mean, how are they?
They're not. That's what I'm saying. That it's not like they have an awesome defense, and they're like, oh, we're just relying on the defense, so we're holding back. Like, here's the other thing. USC beat Nebraska 28-20. UCLA beat Nebraska 27-20. Like, what? USC lost to Washington 26-21. UCLA lost to Washington 31-19. USC beat Rutgers 42-20. UCLA beat Rutgers 35-32. Like you said, how is this not a pick-up? Like, how is this not a pick-up game?
I don't get it. And then they get in a shootout with Rutgers of all teams.
Dude, they hadn't scored more than 20 points in a game, and then they scored 35 against Rutgers.
Like, what? I don't know. You just can't, predict what's going to happen with these teams at all.
Yeah, so. I just hate UCLA so much. I had to bring it up just to talk more and then smack about them. All right, Benny, we're coming out. We're just over an hour. So you think of your Plums of the week. I'm jumping in here. We're going to put together my JT Parlay play of the day.
I had Boston College last week.
I'm looking through the mix. I already told you I kind of like Texas A&M at 2.5. I like Alabama at 13.5. I think those are money bets. I think Boise State 22.5 is a good bet because I think Wyoming's terrible. Going going through the mess. Ooh, I like San Diego State +5, but I'm not going to throw them the JT Parlay play of the day. That's a separate bet. I'm a little less. I don't feel so good about that one, so I'm going to keep that one off. I'm going to take Colorado -2.5, even though it hurts me to do it because I think it could be ugly. But I really think they can win that game. I think they're a better team. So I'm going to pick 4. I'm going to take Syracuse, but here's what I'm going to do on Syracuse. I'm going to jump on Syracuse game lines. I don't like 10.5. That worries me. I'm going to take it down to 7. I know it's -167, but I don't mind that in a parlay. So I'm going to take a -167. I think Ole Miss is also the bet, but I don't like 11.5. I'm going to jump down there. I'm going to take that. Again, I'm going to eat the juice on that. I'm going to take it at 7. So -178 and -7. I'm going to take that. And Benny, that gets me at a 6-teamer. Gives me a 6-teamer. I like that. So let me pull out the odds there. Do you have your Plums bet of the day that you like?
Oh man. I think I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take a big chalk. And I usually don't do that. I like to take the underdog. If I can find a lively dog, that's what I like to do normally. But I'm gonna take Boise State, and I'm gonna go ahead and say just buy it down to 21, even though you probably won't have to. And I just think Boise State's gonna roll. Give me Boise State minus the 21, 22, whatever it is you can get.
Yep, I like where your head's out there, dude. I just think this is a Boise State roll game up against it. Like I said, I'm gonna in a couple games here to better say don't ever buy points. It's a waste of time. I'm like buy points if you're parlaying. Like buying points just up against the spread,
like game.
Probably not worth it. But like if you're buying them because you're putting it with a parlay, then I think it's so. I'm getting mine together here, pulling it up together so I can give you what the total payout will be on this. So give me just a second here as I get it together. So I've got so currently what we're working with is Syracuse -7, Ole Miss -7. I'm going to get on Colorado 2.5. I like that one. Oops, sorry. Trying to get you the full payout here. Sorry, folks. So I got Colorado 2.5. I like Benny, like you said. I like the Boise State in there. I think that's money. I like Texas A&M. I like Alabama. So I'm going to get that together and tell you what the full payout is here in just a second. All right. So anybody who's jumping on that, to give you the full official payout. This is on DraftKings now, what I just gave you. So anybody's listening, it doesn't see it on the screen, but is listening on podcast form. We're at plus 3,120. So $100 bet wins you 3,120. A 50 bet is going to win you about $1,600. We've got me and Benny together. We've got Ole Miss -7, Syracuse -7, as this is our JT Parlay play of the day. We're taking Colorado -2.5, Boise State -22.5, Alabama -13.5, and Texas A&M -2.5 on that. So that's a plus $3,120 bet. $100 bet wins you $3,000 on that. Give it to you one more time. Ole Miss buying the points down to -7. Syracuse buying the points down to -7. Colorado -2.5. Boise State 22.5. Like Benny said, if you want to buy it down to 21, is a good idea. And then Alabama 13.5, Texas A&M 13.5, plus 31.20 on that.
I like it.
Benny, I feel pretty good about those.
I like it. I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a weird week. There's going to be some stuff, I think. Probably not. I mean, obviously, I love the parlay, but some of these, like Miami, there's going to be some of these teams might get a little exposed this week. It's going to be.
I like the player props. Like again, if you're going to get on Miami, I like the player props way better than I like the points. 24 is a ton. Wake Forest is not good, but they played people tough, and we've seen what Miami's done. They have let teams stay in it. They've lucked out a couple times. I'd much rather take the Cam Ward over yards, over touchdowns in that game. Throw in Restrepo receiving yards and touchdown in that Wake Forest game.
Yeah, and Indiana can score some points like they're accustomed to. That's going to be a game. Probably going to be.
Benny, I'm with you. I think you keep an eye on that line. There's a million Ohio State fans.
At the end, it's going to
hammer that.
Oh yeah,
they're going to hammer that. So Saturday morning, keep an eye out. If that line gets up higher, even if it gets to 13, I'll buy the point to 14.
Yeah, Indiana.
I think Indiana can stay with them. I really do. I think Ohio State's the best team in the country. The quarterback play worries me. Indiana's on an all-time heater.
Yeah.
This is the best Indiana team since Antoine Randall was there, and he finished third or fourth in the Heisman.
Yeah, I mean, they should come out and play like they have nothing to lose too, because they really don't. I mean, even
if they lose, they still only have one loss. Like whether they lose by a little, you would think they would pull out all the stops. If I'm Indiana, I'm running every trick play.
You're undefeated.
I'm going for it on every fourth down. Yeah. I'm absolutely pulling everything out in this game.
Go for it. Why not? So we'll see, man. That'll be a fun one.
All right, Benny. So your Benny deep in the Plums pick is
Boise
State.
Yep.
Boise State, which I love. -7, Syracuse -7, Colorado -2.5, Boise State -22.5, Alabama -13.5, and Texas A&M -2.5. 6-team parlay at 31.20. If you're on DraftKings, you can get still +4 anytime parlay, 50% boost, so you can get that boosted if you want. You don't have to take all 6. Take 4. I always try to tell people this. I'm like, you don't have to take every bet we're telling you. Like, if you like certain ones more, just take those. Take my 6-team parlay and make it into 3 2-team parlays. If that's what you want to do, if that's going to make it better for you.
For sure.
But that's going to do it for us. Benny, thank you for hanging out tonight, making it through the awful Steelers loss in the snow tonight. Brutal for me, but we got on here, still have college football to care about that we love. And, dude, we're 2 weeks away. College football playoffs, baby.
That's awesome, but it's also bittersweet because it's like already – it feels like it's already like getting to the end here. I'm like,
I know it's happened, like it's too fast. Started. It's like great, but it's bad, right? It's like, it's awesome that's here, but it's also that it sucks that it's moved this quickly.
Yeah, but you're right. The next like 4 weeks here of college football is going to be phenomenal, man. It's going to be
all right,
awesome.
Benny. I made a promise at the beginning of the show that I would answer this at the end of the show.
Yeah, where are we at here?
Now, my Twitter poll was: do I take Travis Hunter to win the Heisman? I put it back in December last year at plus 7,500 to win the Heisman. Do I cash out at plus 2,200 or do I let it ride to possibly win 3,800? I had 50 on it at plus 7,500. Right now, to my girlfriend's glory and happiness, the votes are in. It's 62% says cash out. Take the 2,200. Take the 2,200 and don't hold out.
I can't blame them because a lot can happen, man. A lot can happen.
A lot can happen. And Benny, we always talk about this. I'm not usually a guy that like cashes out. I've only done it a handful of times in my life. But I honestly feel like if there's ever a cash out, this is the cash. I'll be honest, my girlfriend wanted me to cash out 4 weeks ago, when it was like plus 600.
Oh, well.
She's like $50 to win 600. I'm up at 2,300 now.
Yeah. It's a great holdout. I
feel like it's a great holdout. It's a great win. It's a great fucking win. So because I said I was going to go with the votes at the end of the show, I am going to go with the votes at the end of the show. I am going to cash it out right at 2,300. So I'm leaving 1,500 on the table.
Yeah.
But I'm also getting 2,300 as opposed to getting nothing in case Colorado falls apart this weekend.
Because, if Colorado falls apart.
If they lose this game.
And lose, and they don't make the playoff, it's like now
he's not going to win. He's not going to win. If they don't make the playoffs, he's not going to win.
No.
Like, we know this. Like, this is how the voters work. They only vote for guys that are on winning teams. Yep. So, like, that's what I'm saying. I got to take it right now because any one of the last 3 games could absolutely screw me huge. Yep. I think I'm going to take it. The Twitter poll has answered for me. We are going to take the cash out. It's going to suck to see like $3,000 in my account, but I mean, it's like, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Hey, it kind of makes the whole season, man, right there.
That it does. Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. All the guys that made comments, jump in, like, subscribe, follow Fantasy and Friends, follow at JT Brew Stew on Twitter or the Stew with JT Brew on YouTube. For Benny D, I'm JT Orange. Thanks for joining us. We'll be out here. We'll be here the rest of the college football season. Putting in bets, talking smack. Thanks for joining us. May all your bets hit and the trade never quit. We'll see you next time on the Stew with JT Brew.
You up on trades and wire moves, you ain't designed to lose. Find you jumping over seemingly nothing, racking up points, makes the game a little more fun to watch. Can drop release, we started with the mock draft and now we making a mockery of the leaderboard. Quite obviously not a scrub, so start an institute, make evaluations like a commissioner do. It's to the point your wife make you watch in a different room. Update your roster and pick and choose when you get some news. Not much that we enjoy more than sit through sifting through the statistics to make it to our end zones through different routes. Universities, institutes down to homies who click in groups. I introduce you to the Stew with JT Brew.